honored to be joined by the great state of Texas's Attorney General Greg Abbott. General Abbott, good to see you, sir.
Great to be back with you again, and great to be here at the NRA convention.
Sir, I live in the state of Virginia where we have Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli. You are in Texas, and men like you and women like you are at the forefront of the assault from the federal government on the states. The Attorney Generals who are pushing back against the federal government, the job you have just doing that, forget what you do in the state of Texas, but just getting like Obamacare and the federal government out of your lives. Talk about the job that you guys do.
Well, in just the past few years, we've basically had to create a new unit called the Federal Litigation Unit. I filed about 23 lawsuits against the federal government in just the last 2 or 3 years.
Wait, so is that why Texas is leading in job creation? Because of that?
Exactly. I mean, the EPA alone has created a bunch of new jobs in my office, at the Attorney General's office, because of all the lawsuits we filed against the EPA. But when you got Obamacare and the infringement upon individual liberty there, when you have the EPA, the infringement on states' rights and economic opportunity there, when you look at what we're dealing with right now, which is a federal government challenge to the state of Texas trying to require people to show a photo ID when they go vote, despite the fact that it has been upheld by the United States Supreme Court as being perfectly constitutional, and now we have the Obama Department of Justice pushing back against it. You can see that we're dealing with these unprecedented mandates and overreaching by the federal government that necessitates that the states stand up, fight back, defend individual rights, and defend state rights.
How much of your time is spent, if you had to do percentage-wise, how much of your time is spent on dealing with stuff outside of the state of Texas?
Right. Far too much. You know, we need to be devoted on taking care of our everyday business, but we've had to launch all these new legal actions against the federal government because of the unprecedented intrusion that we're seeing from the Obama administration.
What happens, we're in front of the NRA's All-In campaign logo, talking about the need to get Barack Obama out of office. Let's go in the Texas time machine. Let's say that he is reelected. What happens to this country, and what happens specifically to your state?
Two very important things for people to understand, and that is with the Obama administration, with the people with their ideology, there is a threat to the Second Amendment rights, to gun ownership, and over the past few years, the president has been constrained by the reality he may be running for re-election. If he's unconstrained by another re-election, people have to be very fearful about the way he may intrude upon your liberties. But the second thing, incredibly important for people to begin to understand, and that is we're dealing with a very close and hotly divided United States Supreme Court. The person who wins the presidency this next time will appoint someone to the U.S. Supreme Court. I've seen from being up to the U.S. Supreme Court twice on Second Amendment cases, this is a tough, close issue. If we have President Obama appointing someone to that slot as opposed to Romney or whoever the Republican will be, it'll be far different future for the Second Amendment.
Talk about the tradition and the history of the Second Amendment in your state.
Well, Second Amendment and gun rights has been something that long predated Texas admission into the United States to begin with. In Texas, we believe in the importance of having guns as a way of life. For one, just for food, for another, for recreational hunting, but also for self-defense. And of course, it's been a rich part of American history. So we've been vigorously defending our Second Amendment rights as guaranteed to us by the United States Constitution.
Well, it's obviously important to you because you came all the way here to St. Louis at the NRA convention. So why is it personally so important to you to be here?
Well, guns and Second Amendment rights are something that are second nature to us. I'm here in part to demonstrate our commitment to defending the Second Amendment rights, to defending the cause of what the NRA stands for. I'm also here with a friend of mine, Ted Nugent, who I'm
a good friend to have in the state of Texas.
Well, we're proud that he is a Texan now, which is very fitting because he's America's #1 proponent of Second Amendment rights.
Talk about, sell your state as a place for our listeners and our viewers to come visit, spend their tourism dollars. The NRA meeting, of course, is in Houston next year, so we'll all be there anyway. But why should people come hunt, fish in your beautiful state?
Well, with a state as large and diverse as the state of Texas, there's so many different places you can go hunting. If you like to go deer hunting, we got some of the best deer hunting in the entire country. If you like to go quail hunting, we have fabulous quail hunting, all different kinds of hunting. Fishing, of course, with the lakes, streams, and the Gulf Coast, where there's great fishing out there also. And so we're renowned for our sportsman recreational. And so come to Texas, hunt, fish, buy guns. We got the ability to have an abundance of different type of firearms that you can come check out and hopefully purchase.
Getting back to politics for 1 second here, you also have a very big problem, which is mirrored in the rest of the country, but especially you being a border state with illegal immigration. You hear about shootouts across the border from El Paso and bullets coming into the city of El Paso because it's just that close. What can be done about the influx of illegal immigration, and how are you fighting that as another way of the, when it comes to illegal immigration, the federal government seems to be shutting down the states as well.
People really need to understand that there is real danger on the border. More than just bullets flying across the border from Juarez and El Paso. Law enforcement officers for the state of Texas, whether they be state troopers or sheriff's deputies, are frequently shot at from people who are coming here illegally. And people need to understand that it's the cartels who are escalating their activity in the state of Texas up and down the border. According to a report issued by some retired generals, the cartels have begun to establish beachheads inside the United States. So this is a very real problem. I would like to, however, point out one very interesting fact, and that is that even though there's great danger in Juarez, a few blocks away in El Paso, it's not as dangerous. Here's the interesting fact. El Paso, guns are completely legal. In Juarez, guns are illegal. Far more people lose their lives in the city of Juarez, where guns are outlawed, as opposed to El Paso, where guns are completely legal.
Final question, General Abbott. You do your part. All the attorneys general around the country who are fighting the Obamacares of the world. How can the average NRA member help you? How can they assist you? What can people do other than voting the right way? Keeping informed. What would you recommend?
This is incredibly important because it's the voice of Americans that has helped us also in our fight against Obamacare and a fight against the federal government overreach. Because understand this fact. The Supreme Court will make the decision on the legality of Obamacare, and I believe, based upon what happened at the oral argument, they will strike it down as unconstitutional. But think about this. If this was a law that was warmly and robustly embraced by all Americans and adopted into the way Social Security has been, it would be harder for the Supreme Court to strike it down. The fact that most Americans dislike Obamacare, the fact that most Americans believe Obamacare is unconstitutional, it gives the Supreme Court comfort knowing that if they strike it down, they're striking down a very unpopular law as opposed to one that's popular. So the most important thing that any NRA member can do is to continue to voice your concern, your complaint, your criticism against these federal government overreaching mandates that are eroding your individual liberties.
Texas Attorney General Greg Abbott, thanks for your time, and enjoy your time here in St. Louis, and partying with Ted Nugent while you're here.
There you go. Ted is the man.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.